Whoops, that's bad. That's bad. You don't start before you introduce yourself or get yourself on camera. This is Boxing Talk with Raphie 125 featuring special guest Rick Glaser. Rick Glaser, how do you do today?
Raphie, you've had me on now, what, 6 weeks in a row, 5 weeks in a row. This might not be so special anymore. Be careful what you're saying
now. Well, you know, you're in here. People like you in here. I mean, right now, it's like I see you more of a panelist, to be honest with you. You like our guy from the USA. You like our insider man. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you remember those old spy movies, the Mission Impossibles and all that stuff. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Come on, Rick. Right. You remember the Man from U.N.C.L.E.? This message will self-destruct. Okay, so yeah, Rick back with us. Fortunate to have him back in the building. You know, Rick doesn't like no warm-up. He doesn't like no warmings. He likes to get straight into the thing. But yeah, one little technicality, I forgot that I wasn't included in the thing. So you probably got a few seconds. There's probably a few seconds without any audio at the beginning, but don't worry about it. Okay, so we've been having some beautiful weather over here, Rick. It's quite extraordinary that we're living in these awkward, uncomfortable times, but yet over here in the UK, I can't speak for anywhere else, but it's like being sunny day after sunny day after sunny day. It's been beautiful weather over here, including today.
Well, a year ago, my friend leased an apartment in New York City, and they said, he says, you know, it was like $5,500 a month. He goes, well, what's wrong with 5,000? He goes, you're paying $500 extra for the balcony. So he says, I never use that thing. Now he's out there every night because he can't go anywhere. So he's definitely getting his five. So the lease cave renewal is due June 1st. So the realtor called him the other day and says, do you still want to lease the place? He says, yeah, but he says, I'm still paying $500 too much. He says, you're not getting your money's worth sitting down on your patio already. He says, how do you know I'm sitting out in the patio? He says, because everybody is, because you can't go anywhere. So there you go.
Totally.
There you go.
Totally. 100%. 100%. So how are we going to start this? I think we're just going to go acknowledge some of the people in here. The Philip Carl Roberts in the building. The Reverend Pickles is in the building. This is the second live show of the day. Reverend Pickles is back. And thank you for the super chat in the earlier show in the afternoon. Reverend Pickles, much appreciated. Where we at? Always special, says Philip Carl Roberts. Who have we got here? BH. Ready for Wang Dang Doodle. I've never heard that expression before, but I trust it's a good thing. I trust it's a good thing. SSB up in the building. And we have Troy Graham mixing up some liquid thing.
Bless up yourself. How's everybody doing? Yes, some water. Some Yardman sugar water, ginger and cane sugar and water, man.
Okay. I don't know if I've told. Carry on, Rick.
Yo, man.
What's up, Rick?
Yes. How you doing? Listen, years ago, I went to the Caribbean Festival in Toronto, and every time I go, excuse me, to get by something, they go, yo, man. I turned to my then girlfriend. I says, what does that mean? She says, that's like forget about it. And when you're Italian, forget about it. They go, yo, man. I go, okay, fine. So, yo, man. Come on, get to those. I want to talk about one specific thing today, and then I want to. Everybody can ask me anything they want, like always, but I want to talk about the heart and the gumption that Earl Spence has from coming back from a serious injury, a serious car crash with horrific injuries, or maybe you could say a serious injuries from a horrific car crash. But taking on a two-time world champion such as Danny Garcia, that's no tune-up bout. That's as real as a heart attack. It's going to be on pay-per-view. Earl's showing big gumption, a lot of heart, and a lot, just a lot of balls. Let me tell you, because if I was handling Earl Spence, I wouldn't want to fight, those kind of fighters right now. I would take a softie and then go, like 90 days later, go into a fight with Danny Garcia to see how he did in that first fight. But you know what? I got to give the guy a lot of credit, guys. He's really, really showing something. He's stepping out from the Al Heyman modus operandi, which is cherry picking. This ain't no cherry pick.
It ain't no cherry picking. It ain't no cherry pick indeed. And I wonder why is he doing that? Logic says.
Here's what I think. I think he's badly injured enough that they don't know what he's got left, and if he loses, he cashes in big time and gets a rematch and cashes in again. If he's still good and he wins, it sets him up for something even bigger. And they probably can't pay him a lot of money to fight just a warm body like in a 10-rounder or something like that, because it wouldn't be on pay-per-view. So they can pay him, serious money in case he loses. So I think it's strategic in his mind, but I really believe that, a lot of people call him Danny Garcia a tune-up on I even tweeted it today. That's no tune-up. That's the farthest thing from it. That's a ridiculous statement. That's a real fight. It's going to be a great fight, no question. Because if Spence is a step slower than he was, which figures to be at least a step slower, okay, who knows how he's going to be able to take a punch anymore. But if he's at least a step slower, it leaves Danny Garcia a better shot to land that lethal left hook. So that being said, I think it's a great fight. I look forward to that fight. And I can't say that about too many PBC fights, that's for sure.
Well, I can say that after surviving what he did, the car crash, there's no doubt he's going to be a step slower. There's no, I don't see an if in it, and I can say that if I was in his camp, I would tell him not to take this fight. Let's fight someone, maybe, the last guy that Thurman fought before he fought Pacquiao, just to gauge where you are, right? I would put him in a fight like that. And I wouldn't even be coming back this soon because, see, I was in a car accident. I didn't know. I fell asleep and my vehicle flipped 4 times. I survived and all that. But as a fighter, once you get hit in the ring, who's to say once you get hit and hurt, you might get a little dazed. Who's to say that it might not take you back to that place when you were in the accident, then you go into a shell? Because
Troy, Troy, brilliant comment on your behalf. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Great comment.
I'm sure you remember what's the brother name who fought Triple G? Steve, what's his name, man? He's from out of New York. He was a big puncher as well.
Steve Rolls.
Actually, he's out of Toronto, but he fought out of New York. He's from Toronto. Steve Rolls.
No, I'm not talking about him. He was a short fighter with a big left hook.
Just now?
What's his name? No. Curtis Stevens. Okay. Curtis Stevens came back too soon. Because and Curtis Stevens was never gun shy, and he came back too soon. And even though he felt physically he might have been healed, you have to deal with your spirit, you have to deal with your mind. Because when did you ever see him go into a shell as soon as he got hit? And that's what happened with Stevens. And his career was over. I don't want to see.
You may be right about that, and I do agree that could be very well the case. But Stevens wasn't going to beat GGG anyways. It didn't matter what. In other words, it's a different league altogether.
Yes, sir.
Whether he was in a accident, was injured or not, that's secondary. The fact is that even if he was 1,000% the best he could have been, he wasn't beating GGG. He wasn't in that league.
Right. But
Carry on, Troy.
Right, but I was speaking about what happened afterwards. I just think he came back entirely too much, and he came back against the wrong style fighter. I can't even think
David
of it.
Lemieux. David Lemieux.
Actually, it was yes. Oh my God, that was a horror show, man. That was a complete horror show, and as we know, his career is over now. So yeah.
Yeah, I see on here it says Danny Garcia's a limited fighter, but I don't know what's so limited about Danny Garcia. I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know what makes him limited. I just don't understand that. But I don't think he's limited at all. I think he's a very good fighter. I mean, is he Crawford or something? Or no? Is he Pacquiao? No, but he's not bad. He's right there. I mean, he qualifies for fights with Crawford and the Pacquiao, so that doesn't make him limited. If he was limited, he wouldn't qualify for those type of fights, guys. Raphie, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Totally. I hear what you're saying. Totally. And interestingly enough, it's very interesting because I don't know which show did we do it on? I think we did it on one of the Friday night shows. Yeah, it was one of the Friday night shows, if not the last one, the one before, 2 weeks ago. And we listened to an interview, actually saw an interview. We had the visuals of Errol Spence talking about he hasn't been in competitive sparring yet. He's just getting his cardio in, getting his what do you call it? Non-punching sparring.
Not non-contact.
Non-contact, that's the term I'm looking for. Non-contact sparring. Because he did get some cracked teeth. He's got some new teeth now. We're not talking about veneers, we're talking about, take out the old teeth, screw in some screws, and then later on when they set.
They're called implants.
Yeah, implants. And when
like
the
boobs, implants, implants. You know what implants are. What the hell?
Yeah. When the screws are set in the gums, then he can have the procedure can be finished. But until such time, he can't be in contact. He can't have any contact. So it's an interesting point. He hasn't been hit yet, understandably. And so, yeah, I would agree. It is a bold move to go in with someone as competitive, as established, experienced.
Also, don't forget when you spar with 16-ounce gloves on for welterweights normally, and when you fight in a welterweight, you fight 8-ounce gloves.
That's correct.
Okay, well, that's a big difference right there. That those punches come in heavier in a fight than you would sparring. You got the headgear on. Another thing is, in sparring, you don't skin the gloves back. And let me explain to everybody what that means. That means that you push the leather back and you tie the laces over the leather as far back as you can get, and you tape over that. Where you don't do that, it's just loose leather, real, like, not loose, but like not free form, but just not tight. Let's put it that way to you. And that creates a lot of impact and allows you to cut somebody with a punch with the leather so much tighter. And none of that's happening in sparring. They grease your face up a lot more in sparring. And I don't know. It's not going to be. It's going to be an uphill battle. And I give Earl all the congratulations in the world for showing the gumption to do this. And I hope it's the right decision for Earl. That being said, so we got to preserve Earl for Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got to get got to get put in the oven at one time or another in boxing, and that's the night he gets put in the oven. What's the next? When Danny played true welter, he lost and had a draw with Lamont Peterson. Well, he's fought a lot of true welterweights. That's not the only one. Him and Spence was an excellent fight. Him and Thurman was an excellent fight. He came out on the short end. It could have went. The Thurman fight could have went either way. I thought he lost the Porter fight, but he's no tune-up fight for anybody. That's clear. He's a world-class, top 5, 2-time world champion, top 5 contender. He's a good fighter. So all the respect to Earl. I don't want to take anything away from Earl. Earl's had enough taken away from him. His teeth, amongst other, maybe liberties to drive for a while because of the DUI. But all respect to Earl. No question about there.
100%. 100% credit goes to Earl for coming in and stepping up at that level. A lot of damage could be mental. Might have made Spence question his own mortality. An incident like that can make some people change a lot.
Well, it goes both ways. He might realize that he's not infallible, that he got in a car crash and he was badly injured, or he thinks he's infallible completely to this tune of, oh, nobody can kill me. Look what I survived, a 110-mile-an-hour flip over crash in a Ferrari and got thrown out of the car. So
yeah,
it goes both ways. You don't know how he's going to take it. You know, it's like the John Gotti mentality. He kept getting indicted. He kept getting off. They finally could do it.
Hello?
Yeah, you froze up there. You froze up there. You froze up there, Rick. Can you say that again?
Yeah, because I had a question for him.
Who was that? Who's talking? Who? Okay, so Rick, can you speak to me, please? Because I think your sound is gone. I'm not sure. Rick, I think your sound is gone. Can you talk to me? Can you talk to me? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
He's going to have to log out, log back in.
Okay, Rick, I think you're going to have to jump out and jump back in because we've lost contact. So if you can hear me, Rick, I think you're going to have to jump out and jump back in on the same link. Let me just put it back in there in case. Let me just put it. Okay. Rick's a pro now. Rick's a pro now. He knows exactly what to do. He knows to jump out and jump back in. He's a pro. Rick's a pro. Rick, you're back with us. Are you back with us? Damn. 2 frozen screens. Rick's frozen twice. Okay.
Okay, that's something special.
Rick, hold on. He's loading up. Rick?
Me now?
Yeah. You sound low, though.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Rick's back. I think Rick's back. Yeah, he's back. There's 3 Ricks. 3 Ricks, the triplets. Something like Total Recall. Okay, and there's only not 2 Ricks now. I hope one of them's working. Yeah, I just saw him blink. One of them is real.
Hello.
Yeah, we know which one. Yeah, can you hear me? You can hear me okay, yeah?
I can hear you.
Okay, excellente. Rick is back. And what's the first question we're going to go with? I'm going to change it. I'm going to come from over the USA and come over to the UK. I don't know if you've seen the footage, Rick. I don't know if you've seen the footage of what did you say, Rick? I don't know if you
continue. I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't know if you've seen the footage of Chris Eubank Jr. training with Roy Jones. Roy Jones with Chris Eubank Jr. What's your position on that, Rick? What do you expect? What kind of outcome do you expect from this? What do you think of the union?
Well, he's going to teach. He will teach Eubanks some things because Eubanks is pretty green. For a legitimate world-class fighter, he's relatively pretty green. Roy will show him a lot of slip stuff and how to slip in and out and around somebody, which Eubanks Jr. was not known for. So he'll put some Roy Jones touches on him. Whether he can carry him off in the ring in a fight is a different thing, because a lot of fighters revert back to what they call form, how they always are. So if the chemistry is there, he won't revert back to form. If the chemistry isn't there, then he will revert back to his old style. So we'll see what happens to him. You know, I want to see if Roy just polishing him up or teaching him a whole new style. That's to be seen. We don't know that yet.
Well, I think
we'll have to see.
I think what Chris has been saying is that what he likes about training with Roy's adding on to stuff and showing him stuff that's doable, rather than showing him stuff that, it don't seem doable. But what Roy's showing him, according to Eubank Jr., is that Roy is showing him things that are very, very doable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it makes sense because, like I said, he was a very green fighter for a guy that is a legitimate 12-round world-class fighter. and he did a lot of stuff that was like very green, very like I wouldn't say novice like, but very inexperienced compared to the amount of fights he had and the high profile fights he's been in. So
Yeah.
I think maybe this will put the finishing touches and get him as far as he can ever go, and the rest is on Chris AJbxng Jr. No question about that.
It is indeed like Chris AJbxng Jr. Did you want to say something, Troy?
Yeah, I think he answered it because I was going to ask him. You said he was green for someone with his experience, but I believe you answered that.
Okay. And my following question from that, well, a question that naturally follows on is, kind of reminds me, well, not totally, but in a way, maybe there are parallels, not as bad parallels, but maybe there are similarities with what's his name, Hughie Fury. Hughie Fury is a guy who he just seemed to jump about. He didn't take that slow, progressive climbing phase. Didn't take that phase. He just seemed to jump around, a high caliber fighter, then a low one, then another higher caliber one, then two low ones. And I guess what I'm asking is, or I'm suggesting is,
the reason for that, to interrupt you, was because he was with Nick Hennessy, and Nick Hennessy didn't have big TV money for a lot of those shows, so he had to bring in less of an opponent. And you can't blame that on Hughie Fury, but it did stunt his growth quite a bit. Okay, and it didn't help his career at all. That's for sure. I like Mick. Mick's been a great excellent manager, promoter for many years. Had Carl Froch, had some really good fighters over the years, but he didn't do that kid any justice. That's that I will say. I respect Mick, but that's what reality is. He could have done a better job.
What would have been a better job, Rick? What would a better job have looked like?
Moving them along more methodically over a longer period of time, and not just throwing them in with, after 2.5 to 3 years with real tough competition. He should have brought them along. It takes 4.5 to 5 years to develop 4 to 5 years to develop a heavyweight. Okay, and he never gets that time period to develop. Okay, so how he operates, Mick, every fighter is different. Everybody thinks differently, and every fighter, who knows if he could draw a crowd, he couldn't draw. I'm not familiar, but I will say that he didn't do the guy justice, in my opinion. Doesn't mean Mick's a bad promoter or bad manager. It's just that this particular fighter, that it just didn't work. What they were doing just simply did not work.
It didn't work. Slowly progressive, increasing the challenges at a slow progressive rate. That's the way it should have been.
Yep.
That's the problem. That has been the problem with Hughie Fury's career, in my opinion, and clearly in yours, Troy Graham. I think you want to say something, my friend.
Yes, sir. Before I got cut off, I was going to ask you about Spence and Spence, not Spence. Yeah. Spence and Garcia. Is it just talk, or is there a date?
No, there's no date right now. It's not talk, but there's no date right now. And the reason why there's no date is because of the pandemic. They haven't figured out yet what casinos are going to be open. Some of them aren't going to open for like the 2021. They're going to see who's going to be open. There's a lot of on the fly situations right now going on that everybody's in flux. So this is one of them. So, but the fight's going to happen. It's just a matter of what date.
Okay. And also, I mean, besides the virus, which I think could be avoided, what is the big holdup with boxing? Why can't they fight at empty arenas and just do the whole streaming pay-per-view thing?
They need the governors of each state need to say we're open for business in the relative states. Number one. The boxing committee then have to say we're open, and the testing that you're going to do is adequate. Remember, the officials have to be tested. Everybody in that room's got to be tested now.
Right.
So that it's not that easy.
So it boils down to time, money, and what? Greed.
It boils down to the law, as far as I can see. They're closing things.
Assembling the right medical team right now would be probably the answer.
Okay. Yeah, you
can't get medical staff now because obviously they're all dealing with the it's all hands on decks, isn't it, in the hospitals dealing with the corona. I know a gym owner over there in the US who opened his gym. He was keeping the social distancing, things were marked out, and the police came over and said, hey, you got to close this. You got to close this. Says, hey, hold on. We got social distancing here better than in the supermarkets. Although we have social distancing in the supermarkets over here, but I closed him down. So if it's so hard just to even open a gym, then it's got to be a hell of a struggle to get a boxing fight card on. It's got to be one hell of a struggle for a lot of reasons. The law being one of them. Okay, so question is Errol's work rate after the accident. Danny's a very good fighter, but he can be outworked. If Danny lets his hands go more, it's going to be a good fight.
I think it's going to be a great fight because Earl will be a step slow, number one. And number two is this is like Danny Garcia's like last stand at a huge fight. He wins. This is legacy for him. If he doesn't win, you know, he goes back to the fights of less note for the next year and a half to 2 years, and then they put him in again. So he wants to win this fight bad. He's going to give it all he's got. He knows Earl's a little bit, at least a little bit impaired.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, if he's 10% less fighter than he was, this is going to be an unbelievable fight. If he's 100% what he was, which I can't see, then Earl will win for sure. But if he's not, it's a hell of a fight.
It's a hell of a fight. It's a hell of a fight. I agree. Troy.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. But you know what? I think it was Monday's show. Raphie showed Hearn's Mansion.
Your sound, Troy. You know, I'm not hearing you, Troy. Your sound.
Can you hear me?
Very faint. Very faint.
I don't know. It's up all the way.
Carry on talking now. You're fine now. No, you're not.
Let's see the next question here.
No, you're not. You're not fine. Carry on. The next question is for you guys. Is Manny past his prime? Apparently, since he's winning, still some may say he's not past his prime. Is Manny Pacquiao past his prime?
He's past his prime, but he's still capable of beating, of winning over the guys they're putting him in front of. Is he beating Terrence Crawford? No. Was he beating the old Spence before the accident? No. But he's beating the Thurmans and the Broners, Thurmans, and these kind of guys. But he's not. He wouldn't have beaten Spence if Spence was 100%, and he surely wasn't beating Crawford. Okay, so he's not what he was, but he's still not shot. Okay, he's not shot. He's slightly past it, but he's not. He's far from shot. Is the best description. He's not what he was, but he's not shot. Is he not in his prime? No, but he's not shot. That's for sure.
Okay, so
all right, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yep. Can hear you. Yep.
Good.
Good question from Marla. What do you think of the rumored Holyfield Mike Tyson exhibition match? I personally don't like it.
I don't like it. Anybody with any kind of morality shouldn't like it. I'll leave it like that.
The reason I don't like it is because people are saying it's going to be just an exhibition, but I'm saying you're not supposed to see two guys who are going to be so past their primes getting back in there. And I don't know. There's a number of reasons. One, you don't want to see two fighters like that so past their prime back together in the same ring. No. And two, I don't think it's going to be no pitter-patter business. I think that their competitive edge, their competitive spirit will lead them to go out to try and take the other guy's head off. And I don't think that's healthy for either one of them. I say do an exhibition, do an exhibition circuit, sure, but don't do it against guys you previously fought.
And I'm going to jump in here, and I'm going to come from the other side.
No.
Holyfield of Mike Tyson.
Let Rick come in then, and then you come in after that, Troy. Let Rick respond.
I think George Foreman used to do a lot of exhibitions years ago, many years ago, back after the Olympics, when he was a top contender, when he was a champ, and just to give the crowd a fun, his manager would do the promoter a favor. They give George like 5,000, and they give a guy $1,000, a journeyman fighter, a young kid in there, and move around with him and stuff like that, and everything was fine. But now it's taken off to new heights, where they're talking about millions of dollars for an exhibition, and just the morality of it's not good. I wouldn't have a problem if you told me that he was going to get in, Tyson was going to get in with a couple guys that were journeyman fighters. He gets around with them 4 rounds, each guy gets a couple grand and moves around with him, and Tyson has a good time and everybody has a good time and everybody gets paid a little money. It's fine, but this is not going to be that type of exhibition. I can't see that, especially after Holyfield bit the ears. Tyson bit Holyfield's ears, and after Mike lost both fights by stoppage. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just don't see it.
Okay, good. Now I'm going to play the bad guy and ask, right? Let's just say that Mike and Holyfield, don't fight each other. Who else should they fight for this charity affair? And as far as them going full out, that's fine. That's fine, because they're both basically in the same age group. So how much damage can they do to each other with headgear and all that on? You got 2 guys in their 50s.
We don't know that.
Yeah, that's true too, but you don't know but you don't know from the other side either, do you? Because both of the guys are in the same age group. So, let's say Mike decides to go in there with Joe Smith. Somebody nobody knows, goes full out, gets hurt. Then what happens?
I just don't think guys like that should be in the ring anymore. That was then. This is now. They were great fighters at one time. Holyfield especially was a great fighter, and that was then. This is, here's a guy that was in the Olympics 36 years ago. The other guy was supposed to be in the Olympics 36 years ago.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I'm just wondering, who else is a safer bet to actually get in there with these two guys at this point?
Any guy who needs some money, any guy who's going to conduct himself in a respectable manner. I don't know if Headbutter Holyfield is going to be.
Headbutt.
He did headbutt. He's a headbutter, notorious headbutter. He's Evander Holyfield. I'm a fan of his, but he's a notorious headbutter. There's no ifs or buts. He's the headbutter. And what I'm saying is that any safe guy, and I don't want to see him back in the ring with guys he already fought previously, not the big fights anyway. Maybe bring the White Rhino back. Maybe is it the Buffalo White Rhino? Maybe
he's not safe.
Yeah, he's not safe. You see, you got to be careful with these guys. They're going to want revenge. Some of them are going to want revenge, but these are dangerous guys. So no way, no how should he be getting back in the ring with Evander Headbutter Holyfield. No way, no how. And I like
Michael Moore.
I like Holyfield.
Michael Moore. He's a safe.
I like Holyfield, but when you insist that he's safe to get in the ring with, I say absolutely not. Okay, next question. What do you think about the root? Oh, that's it. That's that same question, isn't it? Hold on, let me move down. My bad. Rick, how did you get into matchmaking? Did you box yourself?
I boxed oranges in Florida. Seriously. No, this is a story, but this is the truth. It's you could ask me anything. I always tell you the straight answer. I got indicted for racketeering in 1989.
Bad boy Rick.
Extortion, gambling, odometer rollbacks at used cars.
No, just say everything you just said again, because there was interference somehow, so we didn't hear you. Just say it all again.
I was indicted for racketeering by the federal government, by the FBI, for odometer rollbacks, for racketeering, for loan sharking, extortion. I was the Cray brothers without the brother. So, and I got lucky. I got 5 years probation only because the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office erred in my case, and they agreed to they agreed that they would accept the plea if the judge did, and the judge accepted the plea because they said I was violent and dangerous and settled all disputes with violence. But then they couldn't come up with one singular witness that said I was violent and dangerous and threatened them. Not one singular one.
Because you silenced them, you silenced them, you kneecapped them. That's why.
You know, I didn't do anything. All my presence alone and my reputation was all I needed to do. Just show up. Just keep my mouth shut and show up and put my hand out. You know what I'm saying? It was like you don't have to say anything. You know, it's just the aura. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, like the Cray brothers, they didn't come there because they, you know, there was a reason why they were there, or there's a reason why I was there. You know, no different. You don't just show up somewhere. So they erred and they accepted a plea. I got a $50,000 fine. I got 5 years probation, no cooperation, and then the probation officer, she was a real doozy, and she made me go down there 3 times a week and take a piss test for drugs and alcohol. And I never did drugs and never did alcohol in my life. So I called up my lawyer one day and said, listen, George, I says, this is ridiculous. He says, okay, well, go have a hearing. We went in front of the judge. The judge says, Mr. Glaser, you've robbed the community long enough, and it's about time you give back. He says, I want you to do something for the community besides do something for yourself. And I want you to, whatever you want to do, give back. And I'll give you once a month probation. You don't have to piss in the bottle. Everything is good. Okay. So I went down to the local boys police athletic league gym in Buffalo, and a bunch of amateurs started taking the amateur tournaments, paid for them to go to the Golden Gloves and all that kind of stuff. Bought them equipment. A couple kids wanted to turn pro, and I was off and running. I met Roberto Duran's promoter at that time, Mike Acree. He started me off. Then I met Ron Katz, who was the East Coast matchmaker for Top Rank. He gave me a lot of business. Then he introduced me to the West Coast matchmaker. We'll put a reference in for me, the West Coast, which is Bruce Trampler, is now in the Hall of Fame. And then came along after that, the legendary Don Majeski, who I do business with all these guys still today. And then Don King came along in my life. And Don didn't come into my life till 2003. And I already been in the business 12 years, and I already established myself. And everybody helped me, and I was off and running. And how did I get the actual matchmaking part was that Mike Acree said to me, after I was with him for about a year, he says, listen, I don't have a regular matchmaker. I did. And you're a lot smarter than he is. I want you to be my matchmaker. I said, how do you know I'm smarter? I says, I could spend 2 minutes talking to you, and and you can teach me something. I spent 5 years with the last guy. He never taught me anything. I said, okay, there you go. So I was off and running, and the rest is history. I'm now in the Buffalo Boxing Hall of Fame, the New York State Boxing Hall of Fame, and a few years Canastota, hopefully, God willing. So yeah. Done a lot of good things. I've never done anything special or outstanding, like one particular thing. I just do a diligent job every day for my clients worldwide, and I do it 24/7, 365 days a year. I love what I do. So I was taught when I was a kid. I was 10 years old. I would remember the date, September 22nd, 1968. It was on a Sunday. I was at the airport in Philadelphia, and my father said to me, the plane was delayed, and we were sitting there at the airport, and he gave me some life lessons, and one of them was, he said, anybody can succeed at anything if they try. It takes passion to excel. And I always remembered that. And I have passion for boxing. That's what brought me here today. And the last 5 weeks on the Raphael Dawkins Combat Show with Raphie and Freddie Graham. Here I am.
I think it's 6 weeks.
I hope that answered Reverend Pickles. I hope that answered Reverend Pickles' question. Thank you, Reverend Pickles, for that question.
Yeah, I think it was 6 weeks though. I think this is the 6th week. I'm pretty sure. This is the 6th. Yeah.
Anybody wants to? I'm not the street loan business anymore. So don't ask. Fire away. Come on, man. You're slowing down on me.
I'm not slowing down. I think Troy wants to say something.
Yeah, you need a movie.
Troy.
Yeah, you need a movie, man, and you definitely need a movie. And you're in the Combat Radio, Boxing Hall of Fame too. So there you go.
Excellente. So what was I going to say after that? Yeah. Hold on. What did you get? Yeah, that was a great question from Reverend Pickles. Indeed. Ross Scott says, I wish Eubank had stayed at 160. I guess he couldn't make the weight no more. Eubank Jr.
Right. What happens is they can still make weight, but they can't make it be strong, and they can't make it safely and be strong. And that's the problem. It's not making the weight, it's being at your maximum, being able to perform at your maximum level, being able to use your legs, take a punch, you're maintaining your balance and stuff like that. That's the issue.
Yeah.
It's not making the weight. Doing it safely and be strong.
Well, I think that's what making the weight truly is, though, isn't it? Making the weight is to be able to make a weight and still be able to perform at your optimal level.
Yeah. Well, Ralph, you and I know that from experience and being around, but a lot of times boxing enthusiast doesn't understand that. That's why I laid it out.
Okay, I got you. You just cleared it up for people, made it clear. Okay, I appreciate that. Eubank Jr. is not the best, but he has a good chin and is a cardio monster.
Okay.
Right? I think that I think he suffered from being too headstrong and not submitting to a trainer.
He's the kind of guy that thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and hopefully he's listening to Roy Jones. Yeah. And when he's not the smartest guy in the room, he just thinks that. So that happens sometimes. Sometimes it happens because you have a father that thinks like that too.
I know. Well, I'm not saying personal experience, but I know with their situation. His father thought he knew everything, and then so comes the son.
But his father's proven though, because he's a champion and he's not. So he should have listened to his father when he came to fight.
But his father didn't have that attitude when he was just coming up, though. I think his father listened, whereas he doesn't. I think that's where the difference is.
That's what I meant. He should have heard his father out when his father told him about fighting in the ring, because his father learned it and he took it to the highest degree. Whereas the son hasn't done anything yet. And he has the skills to do it. But like I said, I don't think that light goes off all the way when it's time to step up. I really don't.
Yeah. Ross Clark says, I don't like it if it's sold as a real fight. We're talking about Tyson versus Holyfield. If they're just sparring, no problem. 53 is a big advantage over 57. It's not like 23 and 27. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I just don't like it. Full stop. I don't want to see those two guys in the ring together unless they're shaking hands without gloves on.
Who else should they fight then?
What's that?
Who else should they?
They should have a 4-round. Tyson should have a 4-round exhibition with 4 guys that are like 3-0, 4-0 that can't punch. Those kind of guys, up and coming guys, get them a little publicity, give them a couple grand a piece. Each go for 1 round with the legendary Tyson and be done with it. I mean, it's just those guys are not going to go in there friendly. One guy bit the other guy's ear off. This guy's got a chunk of ear missing. It wasn't by accident, it was by intent. You don't gnaw and bite on somebody's ear without doing it with intent. Okay? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like, it's like something that happened to me when I was a kid with a girl. So these things don't happen by accident. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So,
it's actually a good idea. I'm actually kind of irritated I didn't think of it. But yeah, it's a good. It's a very good idea, man.
What do you think? What do
You know what the hooker said to her customer? Stop pulling on my ears. I know my business. Fire away.
I don't even get that. Rick comes at me with these things and then he needs to explain it after, and I'm not going to ask for an explanation on that one.
That'll probably be a safe bet.
Troy, you explain it to him.
No. I don't want to explain that. My spidey senses are tingling. Okay. What about Mikey? What about Mikey Garcia and Pac-Man?
Well, supposedly Eddie hasn't been able to come up with a site yet for that fight. Because, so I don't know what's going to happen, and there might not be a site for the fight because of the coronavirus. We don't know that. He needs a big site fee to be able to pull that fight off. Just like Aaron needs a big a big site fee to pull off Pacquiao versus Crawford. So whoever comes up with the money first is going to get Pacquiao services for their guy. One of the two. Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. I'll put it that way to you.
Yeah. Gucci Kid liking the show. Thank you very much, Gucci Kid. That reminds me, everybody tuning in, if you have not subscribed, please kindly do so. Also, you should have Rick Glaser's social media in the description box. I'll check again later.
It's
bless you.
On Twitter at Real Rick Glaser #1 at Real Rick Glaser 1, and that's all you gotta do. Real Rick Glaser 1. And I came on Twitter in January of this year, so there's a lot of fake Rick Glaser accounts out there. It's a funny thing about these fake Rick Glaser accounts. I didn't even know it was a good thing to be Rick Glaser, but then I got fake accounts. I mean, that people my name and my picture and my likeness. It's unbelievable.
Well,
so I didn't know what to say about Rick Glaser.
Well, I knew it was a good thing to be Raphael Dawkins, but I didn't know that I would have a faker on there. But I do. Fortunately, there's a clear troll. So it's clearly not me, but his picture's right up there, plastered on. And funnily enough, I think I followed a fake. I think I'm following a fake Rick Glaser on Facebook. I'm pretty sure. I just realized I'm following 2 Rick Glazers on Facebook. So theoretically, well, one of you must be the fake. So yeah, I'll have to delete the other Rick Glaser.
5,000. I've got almost 5,000 friends on Facebook. I just took a few off that haven't commented in a long time.
Yeah,
right. People die. People lose.
I got a question about female boxing. Is that dead now because of the virus, or how does that affect? Because you don't hear anything about female boxing at the moment.
No, Bob Arum's got a girl, Michaela Meyer.
Yeah,
I believe her name is Mayer, something like that. She's real good. She'll be fighting very shortly. She's getting ready right now. I understand. It's all good, Let's see. I heard it was Tyson Biggs, but still a no-go. Tyson Briggs. Yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard that too. Shannon, if it's real, Shannon will tee off on Mike.
Yeah,
Shannon's still got something.
Yeah,
I don't think so, man. Because he idolizes.
Let Rick finish, Troy, please, before you.
Fire away, Troy.
No, Rick, go ahead. Because I just, every time I see them together, Briggs just idolizes the man. He idolizes him. He's just, I don't know. He gives off a weird energy when he's around Tyson. I can't explain.
They're from the same neighborhood. One's 46 and one's 53. They're both from Brownsville, and they may be an exhibition, and that would be a better one than Holyfield and Winning Cult because Shannon's more playable. He's more of a playful guy, and he knows what time of day it is. Holyfield's not like that. Holyfield's mean-spirited. Holyfield's mean-spirited. Yeah. Shannon Briggs is a lot better socially, so he would go along and move around with the guy and everything else like that. I'm sure.
I believe so. I trust Shannon. I don't trust Evander.
Yeah. I'm not getting it.
Right. Well, yeah. You got to use them. How could you trust him? How could you trust Vander and Tyson? The guy bit his ears.
That's what I'm
Come
saying.
on.
That's what I was saying on Monday. Troy ain't having it.
It took
Troy's not having it.
No,
Troy's
no,
not
because
having
they
it.
made a commercial with the ear thing as a joke, right? Holyfield and Tyson.
Were they stripped to the waist and did they have gloves on when they were making the commercial?
I know, but it was what you have to be. You know, you got to be understandable to do that.
Right.
No, but they do interviews together, they do this together, they do that together, but they never strip to the waist with gloves on and a gum shield. That's a different scene.
Yoman. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard enough about Mike Tyson today. Let's go to more important things. Come on, guys.
Yeah. I had something to ask, and that threw me off so much, man. I had something else to ask, that threw me.
What do you think? Yeah, we're switching topic. What do you think of the Matchroom Boxing proposal of broadcasting a live fight? Oh no, it's not a proposal. That's what's gonna happen. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna have live fights in the back garden of Eddie Hearn. They're gonna have 4 fights. I think it's over when? August and September. I think over August and September they're gonna have live fights in Eddie Hearn's back garden. What do you think of that, Rick? What do you think to that?
Assuming that Eddie Hearn lives in a nice neighborhood, because I'm sure he does, I would say that in America, that would not, a commercial event in a residential neighborhood amongst mansions would not ever be allowed. They would never even get off the ground. So I don't know how they're going to pull this off. I'm assuming they have laws over there, and zoning laws, as they're called. Something doesn't sound right to me. You know, that's all.
It just boils down to deep pockets and people that are agreeable.
Nice setting, you know what I'm saying?
It's a very nice setting.
Quite a nice setting.
It's a very nice setting. I don't have it saved. I don't have it saved as an overlay, so unfortunately I can't show it to you as an overlay, but up to the top of the screen where we're blocking, there's one hell of a big mansion. And then down by the side here where I'm blocking.
I've seen pictures of it already, and if they allow that, that's fantastic. I just don't see it in my area. I just don't see it. You know, in other words, in America, you can't do that. Put a commercial sporting event in your backyard. It doesn't work. You can barely do a wedding in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they barely allow a wedding in a backyard. So I just don't see that happening. Okay. You know, if it does, more power to them.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to go down. Mm-hmm. It's a serious.
I hope it does for boxing's sake.
Yeah, I think it's going to go down. It's a serious proposal. It's a serious thing. I don't think Eddie Hearn is just chatting for the sake of it. Looks like they've got it worked out. There's going to be no crowds. So once again, it's not like you're talking about people cheering in the background. It's merely some big trucks there's going to be a number of big trucks, yes, with the TV equipment, with the rigging up of the ring, with the construction. So yeah, but it's going to be no different to your neighbor having some work done to extend their house. It's going to be like that. You know, I don't think it's going to be any different. You're going to have workmen around, but come the fight nights, it's not like you're going to have cheering. It's going to be pretty silent. And once the structures are built, then that's pretty much it. It's a go. I think it's going to come off. I'm confident it's going to come off. I don't think it's just chat, because also we have to bear in mind that the zone are rolling out in Europe, and they need fight cards. They need fight cards. And talking about fight cards, well, first and foremost, let me say big respect to the Fireman, one of the early subscribers to the channel, one of the early supporters, and still passes by from time to time to show some appreciation and acknowledgement. And I appreciate and acknowledge that. Thank you very much. Goes out to the Fireman. Much appreciated. Remember, the super chat button is there, folks. The PayPal button is in the description box. You know where the like button is, and you know hopefully where the subscribe button is. Okay, so moving on to the next question.
Right, because I had a question for both of you. I actually glanced over something. I didn't really read it. White and Povetkin are supposed to fight in the empty arena, but I didn't. Like I said, I didn't read it. So, do you all know the date and where that's going to be?
This is it's proposed.
That's going to be in Eddie's backyard. That's the empty arena now. The Eddie's backyard.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be in Eddie's backyard. That's the proposal. It's going to be in his backyard. It's going to be in his backyard. However, interestingly, we have just had a visitor. Mr. H Money, Mr. The Zone wants to get in on the chat. Not today, H Money. Not today, my friend. Maybe come back on Friday when we're doing the fight talk and classic fight review. Maybe come back then. But thanks for stopping by. Be sure to smash that like button on your way out, H Money. Okay, so what was I saying? Okay. So we switch over to Joshua now because we talked about the Povetkin, White versus Povetkin. So in contrast to that, Eddie Hearn has come out and said that the Joshua situation is different. The Joshua situation is different. For that, we've had proposals from overseas, clearly from places less affected by the coronavirus. They've had an offer from Croatia to have that fight in an amphitheater over in Croatia. Of course, I'm talking about Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just feel he's going to take some steps aside.
Hold on, Troy. Going over to Rick Glaser.
He can't possibly do Anthony Joshua and Pulev for the kind of persons that they're contracted.
Rick Glaser has fallen off for a second. I see him.
Eddie cannot do those fights for the amount that they're contracted for presently.
Damn, it's not my end, folks. My internet's.
You cannot lose out on a $25 million site, and you cannot possibly do that fight without it. It'd be impossible. Just like it's impossible to do the Fury Wilder rematch without the $17 million that they had at the door in Vegas. So I don't know how they're going to do those fights. Those type of fights are not ending up in Eddie Hearn's backyard or Bob Arab's backyard. I promise you.
Yeah. You even have to put those two backyards together.
Right.
Yeah. What was you going to say, Troy?
I say that I agree with what Rick said. Those fights are too big to be in anybody's backyard. And the problem with being too big right now is that you have no one to pay you. Am I right, Rick? How do you pay someone like Joshua now to fight? You know, because he's a brand, isn't he? Can you hear me?
What's that?
I said he's.
Hello?
You can't hear me?
I think Troy said, "How do you pay guys like that without any without a live audience? You can't do it.
You can't. There's not enough TV money and sponsors to do it. You just don't get enough. Listen, $17 million for Fury, and let's just say $25 million for Pulev and Joshua in England. Okay, how do you replace those kind of revenues? You can't. You can't do those fights without live gates, unless the fighters are going to take less. I cannot fathom contracted fighters taking less after the fact. Now, if they knew before the fight, before they was announced that they weren't going to crowd, then you can negotiate on those behalf. The fighters already getting $35-40 million. One other guy's getting around $15 million. There's no way that can happen under those circumstances. Just not happening. You just can't replace those kind of revenues. No way, no how.
No way, no how. Okay, so let us move along. Okay, Reverend Pickles. If you pick 3 fighters from the UK right now to put on a card in the US of A, who would it be and why?
I would probably take Joshua. Okay. I would probably take Josh Warrington, and I'd probably take Daniel Dubois.
Why Joshua?
Because Josh Warrington can fight Shakur Stevenson. They want to fight each other. Shakur doesn't want to go over there for the kind of money they offer, but he would surely fight him over here. Joshua, whether he fights Fury or not, he's still Anthony Joshua, and Daniel Dubois is a big up and coming guy, and I think that he would add a lot of class to any show at this point in time, and being legitimately a top 10 guy, undefeated, and a lot of aura around him. You get a lot of newspaper articles out and internet articles about a lot of media about Daniel Dubois, because he's supposed to be the next great thing after these guys. So I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I would take those 3 guys.
Yes. I can totally understand.
If I didn't take Dubois, I would take Carl Frampton, because he could fight Jamal Herring, which are going to fight anyway. So those type of guys, those would be my 3-4 guys right there.
Yep. Those are the guys, and those are the reason why. Let's go over. Let's move along. Let's select another question. Stop the BS about Holyfield headbutting Lewis. Lewis used to punch in the back of the head, and Tyson used to do everything. Well, I don't think it's BS, though. I think it's a reality. I think
wait, Raph, let me stop you. There's truth in volume and quantity. Everybody can't be wrong.
Yeah. Evander Holyfield is a notorious headbutter.
Correct.
And headbutting ain't nice. Lewis used to punch at the back of the head. I think everybody's punched at the back of the head. I don't think Lewis is a systematic back of the head guy. Tyson used to do everything. Well, Tyson had his little tricks up his sleeve. But headbutting, I suggest to you that headbutting is up there, is well up there, as one of the dirtiest things one can do in a ring. It's up there, in my humble opinion. Okay, let us move along. Let's move along. Let me go to a next question. We got a lot of comments in here. Let me scroll up. Damn, hell of a lot of comments. I need to do some catching up. Eddie Stavern is in here. Let's see. Where's the question? Okay. Ross Clark says, I personally don't care about dirty tactics if you can get away with it and it helps you to win. Dirty tactics, Rick Glaser.
I don't mind dirty tactics that are slick. I don't okay, like the elbow move, like when you pull the guy's elbow, you pull him off balance, or you step around him or step on his foot or something. Those are dirty, but that's not headbutting is dangerous. Look what happened when Rockman fought Holyfield. He got that thing on his head like this big.
Hematoma.
Headbutting is too dangerous for me. That goes beyond dirty tactics. That's outright blatantly illegal, and no, that's not a dirty tactic. That's really ugly. It's a difference. Dirty tactics are the elbow move, stepping on a guy's foot, putting your leg if the guy's trying to cut the ring off. You're trying to cut the ring off on the guy, and the guy's getting around the outside. You put your left foot out when he comes to that side. Like put your foot out to slow his process down. Different things. But that is not dirty. That's outright. That's not a dirty tactic. That's just outright blatantly should not ever be allowed.
Yeah.
I know one thing, that if it happened more than one time in a fight, and I was a referee, guy's out of there. Just
yeah, headbutting, it's in a category of its own. I think thumbing, maybe it's up there with when the thumbs weren't attached to the gloves, Rick, and some people used to shove their thumb in the eye.
100%. Those are life threatening.
Yes,
you know,
100%.
And career threatening. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. King Slender. Haven't seen King Slender around here in a while.
Did you ever get his money back from the Bella? No, actually, I didn't lend him any money. He owed me money from a deal. Yes, he stiffed me. It was 10 years ago this November. I've been stiffed.
Damn. Money getting in the way of relationships. That's just the way it is. But hey, the Bella, just pay the man his money. Pay Rick his money.
Listen, he denied it to me, Raph. I think I've been intense enough about this over 10 years to say yes, he does owe me the money. Okay, what's the next one here, Raph? That's why I give a huge advantage to past fighters. Carmen Hill would smash these welterweights today with refs back then. I don't know what that means.
I think he's talking about the cheating. Maybe the refs back then turned a blind eye and what have you. I don't know.
Not really. No. That they didn't turn a blind. No referee turn a blind eye to cheating unless it's like a hometown deal where one guy's like literally for that hometown, the other guy's a stranger or something like that. But in these big fights, they're not going to turn a blind eye to blatant cheating. It doesn't work like that. They'd be on such a hot seat they wouldn't be able to work anymore. No commission would use the guy or organization, a BC, BO, IBF. They wouldn't use the guy. So nobody's going to take that chance.
Nobody's going to take that chance. We got the notorious H Money. A lot of people, a lot of wanted. He's on a lot of wanted sign posters. He says, "What's up, Raphie? Can I ask Risk some questions? I will be respectful." Yeah, you can ask questions from the comfort of your armchair, my good man. You can do so by typing in, just as you see the other good people here on the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio doing. AJbxng, okay, looking for a question. Okay, so Eddie Stavern, the Groves fight. Headbutt from Groves gave Junior a permanent twitch in his eye. Watch the interviews, and I've seen him in real life before. So
well, that's what I'm talking about with permanent damage. Headbutting and stuff like that, and to eyes, the head itself. It's just not good. There's proof. I didn't know that, but let's assume it's true. There's the proof.
That ain't good. He's got a permanent twitch. It ain't good if he's got a permanent twitch. For Rick,
ugly situation. Probably a little nerve damage.
Yeah, probably a little bit of nerve damage. Get your questions in, folks. Get your questions in. We got Rick Glaser in for the 6th consecutive week. So take advantage of his perspective.
I'm getting warmed up for next week already.
We're back. We're back next week, Rick. We're back on it. We're still on it, mate. Week after week after week. As long as the corona's going, mate, you're available. We're doing it.
Listen, when the corona's not available, the corona's not going on. If I'm available, I'll do it. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse not to do. I love doing this. To be honest with you, I enjoyed you. I enjoyed Troy.
Absolutely. Troy's disappeared. I don't know if he's cooking. I don't know if he's cooking some curry goat and rice. I don't know what Troy's doing, but he's around somewhere.
Pound for pound list 5 years from now. I don't know. Shakur Stevenson would probably be one of them. Probably Canelo still, because he's a young guy, would be another one. I would say. Tough to say other than those two. I think those two are pretty secure. Daniel Dubois could be a top 5 guy by then. No question about that. Could be. Depends who sticks around. But, of the young guys, Shakur Stevenson, no question in my mind about him.
Okay. So I think I just got a message from Troy Graham. Boom. Boom. Okay. Once the link says email me the link, but boom, I just done it there. It's in the chat, Troy Graham. Okay. So
We have to ask questions before he gets back.
say that again.
I don't want to play second fiddle, but man, Troy.
Yeah, I have to rein Troy and rein him in. It's kind of hard to rein in. Okay, we're looking for the next question from the chat. What is this? Eddie Stavern says Holyfield is almost 60. Leave the dude alone. Well, it's the dude who's putting himself in the frame. He's putting himself in the frame. Nobody's trying to get him.
Eddie's trying to tell us to leave. We should leave him alone. You know, we're trying to leave him alone. He's the one that reared his ugly head.
Yeah. He's the one who put himself into it. AJbxng listened to his father out of respect. Sons idolize their fathers. Nothing wrong with that. I hope he finds a new idol in Roy and listens. If he does, he will win with a new style.
He will improve, but who he beats, I don't know. But he will definitely improve at Roy, because Roy will show him things that he will improve his game and make him more experienced in there, doing things that he wasn't doing before. But I don't know if it beats those same guys he's already lost to. I don't know that.
And I don't know.
Who do you think Carmen Basilio and Terrence Crawford at 47? You know, I don't know. I think Terrence Crawford would win. I think he'd be too fast and too accurate of a puncher. And those guys were a little crude back then in that era. So I don't think that he would hang with Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, because he has too many tools for Carmen.
Right. Exactly. Carmen was strong in an unbelievable condition and strong. He wasn't skilled. He wasn't slick. He was crude. He was like an Arturo Gatti, but at a higher level.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, H Money, Mr. DAZN, Mr. LDBC. You're gonna have to ask the question from the comfort of your armchair, my friend. Just type your question in the chat like everybody else, and it will be asked. So kindly do so, my dear fellow. Raw Dilla 05 says the only thing you hear about the women boxing is Clarissa Shields calling out Layla Ali, and Layla saying she will easily beat Clarissa. Rick Glaser.
I mean, she hasn't fought in 10 years. She's had children. She's had her second marriage. You know what? She's got to be around 40 years old now. That was then. This is now. I mean, Clarissa Shields, a 2-time gold medalist in the Olympics. That's not even that fight's not a contest.
No, not even a contest. You know? And Clarissa Shields shouldn't be calling out the lovely, the beautiful, the delightful, the gorgeous Layla Ali, in my humble opinion.
Clarissa Shields shouldn't be calling out anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, believe me. She needs she just, you know, go fight who you're supposed to fight. Don't be dragging people. It's like Carl Froch trying to drag Joe Calzaghe out of retirement. Stop, please.
I hope that fight never happens, because Joe Calzaghe was boring when he was he was young. He must be much boring now.
Well, you know you're talking about one of Rick's favorite latter-day fighters, don't you?
Yep, he is. No question about it. Classy guy, great for boxing, great fighter. He was the real deal.
He was the real deal. But is it true that he was boring? Didn't you find him a bit boring, like Troy?
It's a funny thing. When he was younger, he was boring. When he got older, he threw a lot more punches. When he was earlier, before he broke his hands, he had brittle hands. He used to throw more load up on his punches, wouldn't throw a lot of punches. But after a while, he threw a lot of punches because he didn't lay down the leather as hard because he had brittle hands. So I liked his style as he got older and settled down more.
Yeah.
Would Big Smash pay? Probably not. Probably not.
Well, I'll just say this to answer your question, Raphie. I call Joe Calzaghe slapstick Joey. And why is it him? Why is it that all the boring fighters have soft hands? Because there's a guy over here named Mayweather. He's just as boring, and he gets this, and he talks about his brittle hands as well. That was for you, Rick.
I think that's just a coincidence. I really do. There's no correlation there whatsoever. So I just think that's just a coincidence. I just think Calzaghe was a great fighter. I mean, forget about just the 46-0, but he was a great fighter. He beat a lot of good fighters. I mean, destroyed Jeff Lacey's career, just like Lennox Lewis destroyed Michael Grant's career.
Yeah.
You can't say enough about Joe. You know, Hopkins, Jones, Byron Mitchell, Chris Eubank won the title from Chris Eubank. He beat them all. You know, I mean, it didn't matter who it was. I mean, he had a lucky decision with Robin Reed. I thought Reed could have eked that one out. I'm not questioning that. But
yeah.
But listen, that's like Castillo and that's like Castillo the first time. That's like what's his name could have got all three fights with Norton. Could have got all three fights with Ali. It's boxing. If you knock the guy out, and you're leaving the judge's score here, anything could happen. He did win, just like Mayweather beat Castillo. So it happens. You know, it just does. It's part of boxing. Is bad decisions is part of boxing. It's not corruption. It's incompetence.
Yeah. Hey Rick, did Larry Holmes did Michael Spinks beat Larry Holmes that first time?
That was close. I think Holmes clearly won the rematch.
Yeah.
It was close. Could have won either way.
I'm talking about the first fight.
The first fight could have won either way. It wasn't a robbery. The second fight was a robbery.
Okay, I gotta take offense to something you just said, Rick. Not so much offense, but you said when you said about boxing, you know, boxing and the bad decisions.
Yeah, part of boxing.
Yeah, that's straight robbery, man. Because and this always still hurts my heart to this day.
Which
Taylor
one?
versus Chavez.
Who?
Huh?
Who? Taylor
versus Chavez.
Well, Troy, I happen to agree with you. He didn't know who he was. He didn't even know his name. He looked at him in the eye. He looked over to Lou Duva. He wasn't paying attention. Duva's fault. He jumped up on the ring. Okay, and he looked over there. He wasn't looking at Steele. And he stopped it. That's not a robbery.
No. But Steele saw the lights come on the ropes, Rick. You know, Steele's a professional. He saw them lights come on the ropes. He knew there was only a few seconds left. Chavez couldn't do any damage to that man in that short amount of time.
But
we don't know.
Stop the fight when you stop the fight. You stop the fight when the other guy stops defending himself. Surely.
It's not how much time's left. It's not how much time's left. It's how screwed up the guy is, how incapacitated he is. It's nothing to do with the time.
It's absolutely nothing.
So I don't agree with it.
That's just it, though. He was in control of all of it. He got dropped, but he was fine. He wasn't out of it. He got dropped but he was fine.
Troy, he was overnight in the hospital. He wasn't fine. There was nothing fine about the man. The man was never the same. He took a beating. What everybody misses about that fight was, okay, everybody kept saying how great Taylor looked. He was getting lumped up the whole fight. The Chavez's blows had much more effect on him than Taylor's blows on Chavez. Look at the two fighters after the fight. One guy, Taylor looked like he'd been through a war. The other guy looked like he hadn't been in the ring yet.
I agree with you that Chavez punches were having more effect, but Taylor was landing more. And at the point where Steele was looking him in the eyes, his eyes were clear. His eyes were not glassy or anything like that. His eyes were clear. Because if he had enough sense to acknowledge Lou Duva, then that tells you that his eyes were clear and his mind was fine.
But he's supposed to pay attention to the referee, not to Lou Duva. What everybody forgets, the referee is the Lord and Master. Okay, you're supposed to pay attention to his instructions, not look over to your corner. Okay, that was a mistake. If Duva wouldn't have got up, okay, and he would have stopped the fight, I would have said, hey, he wasn't paying attention to him. Okay, he's talking to him. He's trying to check the guy out, and he turns away to the side to look at Lou Duva, and he wasn't paying attention to his commands. That's all there is to it. I know Richard very well. Okay, and I think Richard's a quality guy, and I don't think that was a bad.
You know that, right?
But don't blame that on Richard Steele. Blame that on Lou Duva getting up on the ring. Why was Lou Duva on the ring? And the jump up on the ring. What was he there for? He's supposed to be down on the bottom of the field. That's my opinion. You know, I'm sticking to it. Continue.
Vlad ducked Briggs? Question mark.
No, I don't know. But he fought one of the two brothers. I don't think he ducked Briggs. I don't remember that ever happening.
I don't remember that ever happening. This is from Malik Osmond. Is the supposed 10 million step aside from Wilder real?
No, doesn't exist.
No, it does not exist.
No, Aaron's not paying it. Neither is Fury himself. No, they're going to go through. There's no reason to jump. He's going to knock out Wilder and finish Wilder off. There's no reason to jump to a Joshua fight right now. No reason to. Let them go. They both got things to do and get their obligations out of the way, and then they can keep all the money. They don't have to pay anybody $10 million, $5 million. The other guy, it's ridiculous. They both have mandatories. If only one of them had a mandatory, it'd be a little different. They both have mandatories, and believe me, they're not giving up those belts.
They ain't giving them up. This is the opportunity for Tyson Fury to finally defend the world championship belt. He's never done it before.
Nichols coming back again. Tony Yoka, can he win a world title? If you got the chance to put him on a card to test him, who'd you put him again against, Rick? I would put him in with Danny Kelly from the U.S., who's got a tremendous chin. Danny's about 9-3, but got a great chin. I've had him sparring over there with Daniel Dubois. He hung with Dubois, and he's a good, solid guy with a good chin. And that's why I put him in with. Not a huge puncher. He's got a good lot of knockouts, but not against good fighters. And that's who I would have him fight. Tony Yoka, as far as a name guy, who would he be? I don't know. I'd have to think about that as far as a name guy. Can he be win a world title? I think with 4 world titles today, and some of these guys just giving up a belt because they got too many belts and they want to do the mandatory or something. Yeah, he can win a world title. Is he going to be a great fighter? I don't see that. No, I don't see that.
Okay.
Will he win a world title is a different issue, but he has the ability to do so. He's definitely a good athlete. Guy's tall, he's rangy, good foot speed. He's a good overall fighter. He needs a lot of seasoning, but he's probably about 3 years away.
Okay.
Out inside 7. I agree with that 100%.
Dubois choose.
I don't think it takes 7 rounds. I think it takes 4 to 5. Probably 4.
Dubois choose Yoka up in around 4. You just said something there. You said you had Yoka in as a sparring partner for Dubois. Is that what you just said?
No. I had Danny Kelly sparring with Daniel Dubois, the kid from the United States, from Washington, D.C., Danny Kelly.
Did you get feedback from Danny Kelly?
Yeah, guy's a beast. Yep. I've had a lot of sparring over. I sent like 6 guys already over there for him, and for several different fights. And everybody says he's a beast. He's the real deal. Everybody can't be wrong. They've all been in all the other big time camps before, and everybody has nothing but respect for the guy.
So to be clear, because I think I might have to turn this section into a video. You've had several guys fly out to be sparring partner for Daniel Dubois, and everyone, you get feedback from all of the guys, and all of the guys have come back saying the exact same thing.
Right, and these are guys that have been with the Wilders and been with all the good heavyweights. to the United States. And he started saying, this guy's the real deal. Yeah, no question.
Damn. Well, damn. Everybody can't be wrong. Everybody can't be wrong. Looks like all the feedback.
There's truth and quantity. And there's truth and quantity.
There is
Now,
truth in quantity.
I hear a dog.
Yeah.
oh, that's actually on my end, man. I was gonna ask a question and mute myself, but since somebody brought up Wilder, I've always wanted to ask somebody in the know like yourself, Rick. You always hear about Joshua turning down to 50 million. Why in the world did Wilder's camp turn down to 100 million and 125 million?
Because they would have lost control on who he was fighting, and they did and they knew he wasn't that good. And they didn't want to lose control of who they put him in with, and they thought Fury was after they saw what they saw in those two tune-up fights when Fury came back from that 2.5-year hiatus of the, let's call it, drunken binge, and they thought he was soft and an easy fight for Wilder, and there was cherry picking gone wrong, and then there was an automatic rematch clause, and he got the shit beat out of him. Let's see, Philip Roberts with White versus Beckett is supposed to be a pay-per-view. Is it the only way he can make money on it? Also, I think White is pushing for a fight as soon as possible. I think the fact that White's pushing for a fight as soon as possible, maybe he's never heard of the coronavirus pandemic shutdown. Maybe he's never heard of it. I'm not sure. But anybody's demanding a fight from their promoter right now is a fool. So I'll leave it like that part. I don't know if it's going to be on pay-per-view over there. It'll be on the zone over here. I don't think that's a pay-per-view quality fight. Absolutely not. I don't care what country you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Rick, another one, Reverend Pickle. We love Reverend Pickles. I love the name. Rick, when you're not matchmaking, what's your hobbies outside boxing? You shoot pool, chess, cards, roller skating. Well, I have no hobbies. So except boxing is my business and my hobby. My hobby is social media, which is Facebook and Twitter, and appearing on shows like with Raphie and multiple other people. And I like gourmet dining, fine dining with my wife, and I like going to Florida and resting and relaxing. But I don't really have any regular hobbies. I do watch the New York Yankees baseball regularly. I'm a regular big Yankee fan, but I really don't. I'm more of an observer than participant, unless it comes to sex. That's the only thing I'm a participant in. Everything else, I'm an observer.
You left something out, actually, didn't you, Rick? Didn't you leave something out?
Eating?
Well, I spoke to you about coming up to Buffalo for the chicken wing festival. You just breezed over the chicken wings.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think they're going to have it this year with the coronavirus thing. I'm
right.
impressed to believe they're going to have it. But my friend runs it, and when you're ready to come to Buffalo, you let me know, because we'll definitely take that in. So let's say UFC 240. I did a closed circuit event. Was it a closed event? Was it a success? Well, yeah, I did 700 homes on pay-per-view because nobody had anything to do that night. So yes, it was a success. No question about that. No question about that.
It was. It was a success, but boxing. Eddie Hearn is doing his own version of the open air thing. So that's not open air. Closed door thing. So yeah, that's the way it's going to have to be. That's the way boxing is going to come back, Rick. That's the model. That's the blueprint. That's the model, is it not?
Yeah, closes, whether it's outdoors, indoors, everybody gets tested for a while anyways and see what happens. Maybe this coronavirus thing goes away in 3 months, and so we get back to normal. 4 months, maybe it'll take 3-4 months, and then they'll want a 90-day period of grace period to see if it stays away. Then maybe we'll have fights in January or something like that, where the crowds are back. I don't know that. But I will say that it's a very fluid situation. We'll see what happens. Nobody knows anything for sure. Everybody's guessing.
Everybody's guessing. It's guesswork. This is a comedy question. I think it's a comedy question from Eddie Stavern. It's a comedy question. It's about John Fury, Tyson Fury's father. This is a domestic thing over here in the UK. A bit of a joke going on at the moment. John Fury has got offered out, as we say over here, by an ex-bouncer. Mickey Theo and John Fury. People are saying John Fury is flapping. That means they say his ass is gone. He's flapping. He's flapping. He's not.
The guy's about my age. I'm 62. How old is John Fury? Come on, these guys are getting out of control. John Fury. John Fury's an old school tough guy. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, but he wasn't that great a fighter. He was, he had like 67 losses in his career. He was just a guy.
Two last fights, he got knocked out. Two last fights, he got knocked out. So it's just a little comedy thing that's going on over here in the UK with John Fury and Mickey Theo.
He got knocked out in his last 2 fights. Mike Tyson got knocked out in the last 2 fights, so they have a lot in common.
Well, they have a lot in common. They have a lot in common. His last, what was it? No, his second from last fight, he got knocked out by Henry Akwende. Remember Henry Akwende, Rick?
He's still alive?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Henry Akwende, I never said he's still alive. I said he got knocked out in his last but one fight, John Fury, by Henry Akwende. Why? I don't think Henry Akwende is any much older than John Fury. He's in his 50s.
Yeah, Henry
Akwende.
Henry was like the minute bowl of boxing. He was just tall and worthless. He was just wasn't any good.
Terrible. And this question here, I don't know. This question here is Lennox Lewis used to hold. It's a statement. Lennox Lewis used to hold behind the head and hit.
Okay, so what's the problem with that? So does everybody else in boxing. Ali did it on a daily basis. Hector Camacho did it on every round at least once. Everybody does. All the good fighters do it.
Yeah,
no joke.
Yeah, I don't think that's Lennox. Yeah. Lennox did it. I don't think that is tantamount. I don't think that is tantamount to headbutting though. There's scales. There's scales of things, and headbutting is right.
Holyfield didn't hit behind the head,
and headbutting is right there at the pinnacle of those crimes. So that's why I do point out Evander Holyfield's headbutting, and the reason is because it's at the pinnacle.
As much as I like Tim Bradley, as much as I like Tim Bradley as a person, he headbutted a lot. Okay, so I mean, some fighters do. That's all there is to it. It's their style. You know, some do it intentionally. Some it's because it's part of their style. How they fall in and stuff like that. Some do and some don't.
Yes. Questions in, folks, while Rick's here. Rick, what are your plans for boxing when the lights come back on? Are you planning any cards anytime soon?
Well, I'm not a promoter. I'm a international agent and a broker and consultant. So I represent people, make deals for them. I broker deals. Like the promoter tells me there's 25,000 in a fight, and I give the fight, and then they know enough, they got to pay me 10% on top of that, and then I give the fighter the 25. I also render advice for a nice fee, and that's what I do. I don't promote myself. I do work with a lot of promoters all over the world daily. Rick, what do you think of Loma requesting the franchise? He didn't request the franchise tag. Okay, that's not true. Okay, he didn't avoid Devin Haney, the next Floyd Mayweather. Okay, what happened was everybody wanted to see Devin Haney with a belt. He wasn't experienced enough to fight Loma yet, and Mauricio Sulaiman came forward, no matter what you hear, read, and said, "I've got a way to resolve this issue. Let's give him the franchise tag and let Haney fight for the regular title." And everybody agreed it was fine. Okay, it pacified everybody involved. So that's not true. Okay, it's not true at all. Zero. I don't think Loma, with 400 amateur fights and a world champion, is afraid of Devin Haney. That's not happening. Okay, so that's that was printed in the media a certain way to taint it, like that Loma asked for the franchise tag. No, officially Sulaiman went to Top Rank, and then Top Rank had to put in a request, but it's not really the way it went down.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to know. Believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are El Jefe is back.
El Jefe
Hold
is
on a minute. What are Rick Glaser's thoughts on Mikey Garcia's career so far? Thoughts also on his business skills. Okay, here's what I feel about Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is not going to leave a great legacy in boxing because he's too much of a businessman. He's not about fighting the biggest fights in his weight class. He's about making excuses up when he loses because he doesn't want to lose to a guy that's a 35 or 40 pounder. So he always wants to lose and make the excuse, well, I'm out of my weight, I'm too small, but he'll gladly pick up the $10 million paycheck and you know and give us BS on what he's not in the legacy. He doesn't have passion for boxing. He said it when he was on him and Aaron were in the fighting. We hadn't fought in 2.5 years. He's I don't need to fight. I don't like fighting. I just do it to make money. So there's no legacy there. So that's my opinion. Is he a good businessman? No, he's not. Okay, because he's pissed too many people off, and good businessmen don't piss a lot of people off. Number one, especially power brokers. Number one. Number two is a good businessman would also consider his legacy, and he doesn't consider his legacy at all. Zero.
So, Malik,
okay, that explains a lot, actually.
Thank you. So let's go to the next one. Malik Osman again. Seems like the UK is churning out heavyweights. Joshua Fury, White, and comes like Dubois Joyce. Why do you think a U.S. heavyweight scene is not churning out? Because we have more major sports that they can play, such as football and basketball, baseball, and our fighters. The difference our fighters are more street urchins. So. And some of them never got. There can be great fighters. They never get out of their neighborhood. Okay, they end up in jail. They end up, whatever. And it's just a whole different mindset. Americans compared to the UK. UK being a fighter is a noble art. In boxing, boxers are considered scoundrels. The whole different look on fighters over there compared to over here.
Okay.
Troy?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in on this one on you because you said we had more sports over here, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we've always had more sports over here, Rick. And we had the Alis, we had the Tysons, we had the Holyfields, we had the Joe Lewises. We've always had great heavyweights. We've always had football, baseball.
Well, here's the difference. At one time, boxers were the highest paid athletes over here, all across the board, like the top, 25. Today, football players and basketball players are making millions. Back in the 80s, they only made 400,000, 600,000 a year. Okay, if you inflate that by 3 times, okay, so they would be making $1.5 million today. No. They're making 10, 15, 20 million today. The NFL quarterbacks are making 30 million today, 25, 30 million today. So it's gone way beyond inflation. That's the reason why the money's there. Another thing, in early fights in boxing, you don't make a lot of money. As soon as they don't them football, they get drafted in the NHL. The NFL or the NBA. They make big money and their signing bonus, huge money. They get millions per year guaranteed. They got life insurance. Boxers can't even get life insurance for in the ring. It's very hard, and the cost is prohibitive. Not in the other sports. So there's so many reasons. There's like 30 of them. If that, I think that's a whole show in itself. To be honest.
Okay.
With you.
But I think.
Okay. Well, I'm going to come.
I think the pertinent point. I think the pertinent point there was that even though you may have the same amount of sports now that you did then. But the difference is the Mo Nai. It's the Mo Nai.
Exactly.
Right, because I'm coming from a fan's point of view now.
Just like everybody thinks the richest athlete in the UK is like Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury or something like that. It's not even close. Lewis Hamilton makes $100 million a year. You know who Lewis Hamilton is, Troy?
He's a soccer player.
No. Formula One, right?
He's a Grand Prix superstar and an iconic figure. Some people love him, Some people hate him, but he's the best race car driver over the last Grand Prix driver, Formula One over the last 10 years. And he makes like $100 million a year.
Yeah, you don't watch Formula One.
No, I did.
You don't watch Formula One.
No, I don't even watch the car races over here.
Here's the best part, Troy. He's a black man. That's the best part. Okay, and he's a great race car.
Wow.
That's why I was surprised you didn't know who he was, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Lewis Hamilton.
Oh.
Lewis is Lewis. I'm a big fan of Lewis Hamilton's.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. Has Rick ever met the great Lou Duva? He's now deceased. I had met him many, many times. We did business together many, many times. Great guy, true boxing guy, great boxing guy, a real old school gentleman. I have had nothing but respect for Lou Duva. Love the guy. We spent one night in like 94, 90, whatever year it was, 93, 4 in Chicago. I don't know, was it David Tua fought and maybe, I think a lot of fought, maybe Tua fought. We spent the whole night together. We went to a Hooters. We had a great time. Great guy. Lou, I have nothing but respect for Lou Duva.
I actually met him once.
Best young heavyweight and is Daniel Dubois, no question.
And that is a response to James' question, who is the best young heavyweight?
Right.
The answer is Daniel Dubois.
I actually met Lou one time, Rick. He, I don't know if you remember back in the day, they used to hold fights down here on Michael 8th Avenue. There was a channel down here.
Wagner family. Yeah, the Wagner family. Very familiar. Right. I was there many times. Yep. Uh-huh.
Right. It was on a channel called Home Team Sports. And
correct.
I used to I used to train out of a gym owned by a guy named Mo, and I think Mo was fighting, and he was looking to sign Mo. And he came down to see Mo fight, and I think Mo happened to lose that night, but I happened to meet him because I bumped into him as I was walking. I was walking back to where I was sitting with my food. I bumped into him, and I was like, "Excuse me," and I'm like, "Oh, you're Lou Duva." And he's like, "Yeah, I am." And that was about the whole conversation, you know.
Eddie Stavern, that'll happen. I noticed the nerve damage on my eye was cut at age 24. Now I'm 49. Well, Eddie, that'll definitely happen for sure. No question about it. You get a good headbutt or a good cut from a good, leather laid on you, that could definitely happen. There's no question about it. One of the pitfalls of boxing. Question: what do you consider to be red flags at weigh-ins? When the fighter's late for weigh-in, the son of a bitch is overweight. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. The reason why he's late was because he's still trying to sweat it off in a sauna or running or doing something. That's why. Or he's so overweight he's embarrassed. One of the two. That's a red flag for sure. The other red flag is as soon as they, let's say the weight's 35 and it's supposed to be like you're in the 35 weight class and they say 36 plus 1, total 37. And you see the guy completely stripping down, including his shorts, his underwear. You know that son of a bitch is close. They're normally going to be overweight. Not even a question. And then if once they jump on the scale and they make the weight, if they start slugging that water down or the Gatorade or some kind of prepared protein drink or carb drink, you know the guy was drained to make the weight. You just know it. Let's see. Watch the job Lewis did on Michael Grant holding his head down. See, it hasn't already been said. I mean, it's part of boxing. They all do it. I mean, Hector Camacho did it. They all do it. Bernard Hopkins did it. They all do it. Okay? I mean, what can you say? It's part of boxing. Layla Ali is hot. Yes, Eddie, Layla Ali is hot. Okay? Yeah. My wife happens to be black, and yes, I would do Layla Ali. Continue.
Wow. He would do, when he says do, he means he would do her a favor and open doors and, make sure that she was catered for in the very best way possible. I think that's what, if I could if I could elaborate upon what Rick might be saying. That's my interpretation. That's my interpretation.
Yeah, I was thinking Barry White and Candlelight, but okay.
Yeah.
No. Rick Glaser, no Candlelight. Okay, let's see. Kawasaki would have gave Crotch a beating. Troy, Kawasaki wasn't boring. Yeah, he was a little boring earlier in his career. He used to pose a lot, look to load up. After he got his hands beat up, then he threw more punches, but with less steam behind each one. So he was at a time earlier a little boring, but as he got going later and later, he wasn't boring anymore.
Well, since the person called my name, I'm going to say that he agreed. No, I'm actually going to agree with him that his daddy wasn't boring, but the son was boring in the ring. He was bored, but his father was fired up in the corner. I had a lot of appreciation for the senior Calzaghe, not so much the fighter.
No chance, Calzaghe.
No chance. Calzaghe was. What does he mean by that? I don't understand. Is he saying that Calzaghe was the best fighter, or is not the best fighter?
I think he might be saying there's no chance. I don't know, but Leighton comes from Wales. Leighton is a Welshman, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. The only criticism.
All I know is I don't know if he's the best of all time, but I will say that he was a great fighter. And if he wasn't the best overall fighter, pound for pound, he was definitely the best super middleweight that I ever saw.
The only criticism of Joe Calzaghe is for 95% of his career, he stayed at the WBO level. The true monsters were at IBF, WBA, WBC.
Hold on. He had unification bouts. He fought all the #1 contenders. He fought everybody he could fight. I can't blame him because Frank Warren didn't want to reach out at an earlier time or even more competition. He played with Jeff Lacey. He played with Kessler. He beat Hopkins, came to the U.S., beat Hopkins, beat a depleted Roy Jones. But like I've said before on the show, Calzaghe wasn't Calzaghe when he fought Roy Jones. That's why he retired. That's why it was his last fight. He realized he didn't have it anymore. So he wasn't 100% either. So, I mean, I can't say a negative word about Joe Calzaghe.
He says that certain fighters didn't want to fight Joe Calzaghe either.
And here's true, they wouldn't fight him. No. Okay, so he's talking about good things about
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm a big believer in Joe Calzaghe. I've always have been. He's great. He was great for the game. He drew 55, 60,000 people on multiple occasions. And when it was time to travel, he traveled well. And he did what he had to do. He was a great fighter. No question about it.
Yeah, Calzaghe is, what does this say? Calzaghe is an AJbxng.
Every time you say his name, I yawn. But go ahead.
Calzaghe would have smacked Frotch all around the ring.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Eddie, you don't have to convince me. You're preaching to the converted. I agree with you 100%. Not even a question in my mind.
Yeah.
I have a question. Andre Ward versus Calzaghe at their best at 168. Who wins?
Dead even. That's probably the second best in my eyes. Anything could happen. I think Calzaghe wins because he threw too many punches, and Ward was more of a stylist. And I think a stylist would not do well with Calzaghe because Calzaghe will outland him 2-1, and I'll throw him 3-1.
Calzaghe's resume is trash. Only guy he beat in their prime was Kessler and Lacey.
I don't agree with that.
Steve Collins.
You don't beat all those #1 contenders over 10 years or 11 years. You don't beat #1 contenders over 11 years. You don't journey to the United States and beat Hopkins and Roy Jones. You beat Lacey, beat Kessler. I mean, beat Byron Mitchell. The list goes on and on. Chris Eubanks. He beat big name guys. I don't know what, there's nothing about Joe Calzaghe. Don't forget one thing: you have to fight your mandatory every year. So whether you think he's trash or not, the guy's the #1 contender. So if you're fighting 3 times a year, one of them's got to be against the mandatory. Steve Collins would have beaten Calzaghe. Not a prayer. Not a prayer. How Wilder wishes he took the 80 million now. It was 100 million. Actually, it was actually 100 million, but whatever. What do I think? Wilder did make a lot of mistakes. Correct. No question. I'm agreeing with Eddie. Froch could. Okay, here's Leighton from Wales again.
Yeah.
Froch couldn't beat Ward, so he will never be as big as Calzaghe. You're right. That's true. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. That's like saying I'm hungry right now.
Okay, now Rick, you just made a powerful statement. You said if you're a champion, every year you have to fight. You have to fight your mandatories, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Why didn't Deontay Wilder? Why wasn't he told to do that?
Because they kept making excuses up and defending Wilder and wouldn't let White, and then Eddie Hearn wouldn't go to court against the WBC because he figures, well, after White, there's going to be a lot of other people I got to do business with the BC, so I'm not going to go put my head out for White. So he must, that's my opinion of it, People put Calzaghe down just because he was a concussive puncher. He wasn't. He schooled most of his opponents, though. Great skills to White. Absolutely. No question about it. The question mark. No question about it. Question mark. I agree with you. Listen, we got 2 minutes.
We got 2 minutes.
We got 2 minutes.
Rick, we got 2 minutes with Rick. So what's going on here? I think Rick has alluded to that. He spoke on that already, that particular question.
Dubois beats him in 4 rounds, stops him. He's too strong, too much of a power puncher. And Yoka can move around the ring. The other guy's friggin' huge, thick as a house, fast, powerful, can box. Looks like the complete package to me, Daniel Dubois. Just want to say my Twitter handle, at Real Rick Glaser 1. I started, there's some fake Rick Glaser accounts out there that I have no association with. I started in January of 2020, so you make sure you got the right one.
Yep.
And I want to say thank you to you fine gentlemen, and I mean that sincerely. You guys are real gentlemen. I actually love this show. I mean, Troy, like I said in the past to you, it's like a week in advance. I'm glad I know I'm going to know because I can look forward to the show. And next Wednesday morning, I can wake up with something to do and the excitement. I just love the boxing fans in the UK are fantastic. They ask great questions. They have great comments, and I'm honored and privileged at the same time to be on your show. And Troy, it's always a pleasure. Anything that you partake in, Troy, I enjoy. And I want to say thank you very much, everybody. And you guys have a great evening, everybody. Until next Wednesday, it's Raphael Dawkins Combat.
Combat Radio, and it's much appreciation going out to Rick Glaser for taking his time out. And it is much appreciated. And Rick will be back next Wednesday, same place, same time. Take care, Rick. Have a great week.
Thank you much. Bye now. Thank you.
Much respect, sir. Much respect.
Thank you. Bye now.
Okay. And that was Rick Glaser. And then there were 2. Rick Glaser coming on.
Yes, sir.
Every Wednesday. Much appreciation goes out to him.
I tell you what, when did it become the Joe Calzaghe question and answer show? I guess I shouldn't have brought his name up, huh?
It became a Joe Calzaghe thing at the end. We got about 15 minutes worth of Joe Calzaghe, but you know what? Maybe he deserves a mention. Joe Calzaghe deserves a mention. Unbiased says ask.
Oh my gosh.
Unbiased ask, did Rick mention the Loma versus T.O. fight? I think he did. Not this time around. What's Rick's thoughts on it? I think he mentioned it. I'm pretty sure he mentioned it last week, Unbiased. and he mentioned the week before. I think, I don't want to quote him, I don't want to misquote him, but I think he said that Teofimo, he has one hell of a shot. One hell of a shot. I think that's what he said. He's got one hell of a shot. So I don't think he's overcommitting in either direction, but I did think he said that Teofimo has one hell of a shot. And there's loads and loads of comments here. I don't know how many of them are questions.
Yeah, Ralph, you know, he does have a shot against Lomo because one, he has that speed and he's very chaotic on person and he actually brings a lot of chaos in the ring, but he does it on purpose. You know, he knows what he's doing in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's very chaotic, but it's with purpose. So I don't think Lomo's more for he's a straight lace fighter. But if he could catch this young man's timing, then that's a sign of greatness. But I don't see that happening because you know he just got dropped his last 2 fights, right?
Yeah. Who got dropped? Loma?
Yeah.
Did
he get dropped in his last 2 fights? These guys weren't even punches.
Did he get dropped against Luke Campbell?
Or you know, was it the brother before that? You know, it was a guy before that. He was lengthy and he was Latino, and I can't remember the fighter's name, but he dropped him good though. He got up. Yeah.
Luke Campbell was his last fight, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, and I can't remember Luke Campbell dropping him. I think we covered the fight right here on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. If you've just come in but you haven't smashed the like button, then please kindly do so. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, then please, but you enjoy the content, then please kindly do that. So the super chat button is in the chat. And what other buttons are they? Yeah, those are all the good buttons. Okay. Oh, your PayPal button is in the description box. Those are all the good buttons. H Money speaks of Rick Glaser explained Tyson Fury getting caught tampering with gloves on camera during the Christian Hamer fight. Yeah, the thumb had come detached. There was a little piece of material to hold the thumb together, and that was detached. So the referee ordered that they bring in some new gloves that up to regulation and up to spec. That was done, and the fight went on. And he beat Christian Hamer, so that was resolved.
I don't ever want to hear about that dumb situation again.
Yeah, it's
I'm so tired of hearing about that foolishness because to me, I've actually boxed and I've called into some shows and I said, why don't you go to the gym, you and a friend, and you put on the glove, you know, halfway, like you said Tyson had it, and you know your buddy could put it on full way, and then you know let him punch you with that glove that's on halfway 3 times, and you tell and see what it feels like, and then you punch him 3 times with the glove on the right way, and tell me which one hurts more. Not a single one of them would take that challenge. You want to know why?
It don't make
because
sense.
They're liars and they're not fools. Exactly. You can't do any damage with a half-on glove because it's a slap. So you know, basically they're saying that Deontay Wilder was, you know, a pimp slapped to death, and Fury's his pimp, and he lost the fight. So you know they're not really helping their cause.
That was in the first fight, though. The disputed glove situation is in the first fight.
That's even worse. They just need to shut up.
It doesn't even apply to the second fight. The first fight was a draw, so it's quite bizarre. Eddie Stavern says this is why China economy is so strong. Why the UFC so strong. One man at the helm. Boxing is corrupt. Our big love is a mess. Well, yeah, there's something to say about one man at the helm, but on the flip side of that, Dana White, he don't pay his fighters. He don't pay his fighters on a factual level. I think there's
thank you so much.
On a factual level, there was a spreadsheet or something of that nature, an article which showed the percentage that all the major sports pay their employees, the sports stars, and the UFC was woefully low, the lowest. They paid their in comparison to how other major sports pay their sportsmen. They pay them a very minute amount. So UFC fighters are being robbed.
Thank you so much, because it's easy to be in power when you keep all the daggone money, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you paying your fighters a couple of 100,000 and your show made multiple millions, how do you not stay in power?
Yeah.
I mean, stop it. I don't know one. I don't know one fighter over there that's actually a brand. Who's the fighter over there that can say that they're the brand? Please don't say Jones, because he's been high and busted too many times, so you can't say him. They had a chance.
Which fighter was a brand over there? I guess Conor McGregor.
That's not a good representative for anybody.
That's not a good representative. He's very damaged now. It's tarnished. Who else? Ronda Rousey is a brand. Was a big UFC brand. Who was before Ronda?
I
guess Randy Couture, but he wasn't very well known. So no. Brock Lesnar, but he was a WWF brand more than a UFC brand. So yeah. So Brock Lesnar was a major name for the UFC. He could kind of name his figure, not quite, but you know. But those have been the three brands: Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey. Oh yeah, Anderson Silva was a bit of a brand, because that's what got you into UFC.
Yeah, I don't think they showed him any love at all. I really don't.
Well, he didn't get as much love. But having said that, part of it, that's his responsibility, because he didn't speak English. So that's on him.
No, but there's a lot of fighters over there don't speak English that do
true.
well. He doesn't. He was true. One of the. I mean, the dude was beautiful, man. He was fluid like water.
Yeah,
it's something you could have done, but I mean, I was laughing when you said Brock Lesnar. It took him 3 fights to become your champion.
My champion?
No. I'm talking about the sport overall. It took him 3 fights to get a title shot.
Yeah, the wrestling game is very strong in the UFC, though. So if you're a strong wrestler, you go in there with a strong chance just from the get-go.
Right. But that's still embarrassing for a guy who's never been in the sport to come into the sport and only have 3 fights. Now he's a champion. I don't know any boxer with a good background in amateurs or great background in amateurs who's been okay. Lomachenko did it, but he lost. What, didn't he lose the first time or whatever when he tried out for a title?
Yeah, he lost the first time. Yeah.
Right, because he couldn't handle pressure, and he still can't handle pressure. That's why you don't fight pressure fighters.
So Marla says Dillian White used his head against Parker.
Oh gosh!
With other dirty tactics, and we are told it's just boxing, and Parker needs to harden up, be consistent. Raphie. Well, I'm against Evander Holyfield's head usage because it was systematic. Dillian White's headbutt. I think most people conclude that it was an accidental head of clash. Dillian White is not known to use his head, so from a logical standpoint, one would have to say it was an accidental clash of heads. So I don't see how that equates to Evander Holyfield's use of the head. Totally different thing. An accidental head clash is different to systematic use of the head.
Gosh. Okay.
As far as what are you talking about? Other tactics, other dirty tactics. Well, I think we've all agreed that that dirty tactics or crafty tactics, whatever you want to call it, is a part of the game. But blatant and systematic headbutting, I put it to you, is totally not acceptable. Totally unacceptable. And so I think I'm very consistent on that. Very consistent.
You know why I'm showing my face, right? Because I want you to see my face. I'm like, come on, man. there's very few fighters in the sport that are not crafty, as you would say. Tyson threw a left hook and then followed with an elbow.
Mm.
Tyson bucked all the taller fighters. He would get up under their chin and start bucking them with his headbutting. That's what he did, right? So everybody is crafty to an extent. Other fighters would say that they would turn the fighter around, to block the referee. Then they would catch him here and there and there. So it's crafty when you get away with it. It's dirty when you get caught. You see the difference?
There you go.
I don't agree with the thumb thing. That is just dangerous. Because I was stunned. I lost my sight in my eye for like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't play with that. I don't like what what's the name did, the Margachito. I don't like when they used to scrape out a padding of the glove either, because you're trying to kill me at that point, right? Those are things I don't play with. But if you get away with the laces because you're not really killing nobody with that, a little sneak. I don't like punching behind the head because you can kill somebody too. Because there's actually no protection behind your head, none at all, none. If you catch somebody behind the head at a certain point, you could actually kill them or you put them in a coma, right?
Yeah.
So I don't agree with that. But you use somebody blind the ref, you catch them in the ribs a couple of times until the refs break you up. Okay, you throw a left hook, follow through with an elbow. Okay, but the jabs through to the throat and things like that, not so much. Okay, no, I'm not even saying that I did that when I was in there, but I showed you how to.
Okay, so Marla, he landed a left at the exact time as the headbutt, the accidental clash. Never seen any boxer headbutt someone intentionally or throwing a punch at the same time. Rest of it was real rough house, though. Yeah, it was a rough house fight. It was a rough house fight. That's part of the game. Headbutting, nah. I could never find systematic headbutting acceptable.
Okay, you have to explain how you land a left hook and a headbutt at the same time, because they both come from a different height and all of that, right? Because your head and your shoulders are not on the same level. So how do you land a hook and a headbutt at the same time?
It happened, didn't it?
Did it?
Yeah.
Where?
Dillian White versus Parker.
No, he threw a hook, but then he stepped in and caught him with his head. It wasn't at the same time. It was a few seconds there, but he was throwing a hook which clearly missed, and then he stepped in, and that's when he caught him with his head. Boom. He didn't mean to headbutt him. He meant to catch him with that hook, which he caught him with, later on in the fight, which blasted Parker halfway across the ring. Yeah, so he wasn't doing it. He didn't land a hook in the headbutt at the same time. He threw the left hook, which from everybody's point of view seemed that it landed, and then he stepped in, and that's when he landed the headbutt. He didn't mean to do that. He didn't mean to do that.
Well behind on the chat. People are still in here asking questions for Rick. Sorry about that, folks. There was lots of questions, so we didn't get to all the questions. So remember those questions, save them for next Wednesday when Rick Glaser will be back. He'll be back with us. Hell of a lot of questions. Damn. Hell of a lot of questions. So I appreciate everybody who took the time out to come here and took the time out to write your questions. Billy Joe Saunders, will he beat Triple G now? Or would you still stick with him stick him in with the young lion, Canelo? Does Billy Joe Saunders beat Triple G?
Why did he turn down the first fight, Raphie? Wasn't he offered a fight with him a while back? Years ago?
Why did who turn down which fight?
Saunders. Wasn't Saunders offered a fight with Triple G years ago and he turned it down? Said it was too dangerous?
I think, yeah, he said something at one time that Triple G's probably the most dangerous guy at the weight at that time.
Right.
Did he turn down an offer? Okay. I'm not sure he turned down the offer, but he may have turned down the offer. He may have turned down the offer based on weight. Was it weight? I don't know. The same weight. They're the same weight.
Walking around at 200 pounds around that time, Ralphie.
Yeah, it's big.
He was
it's big, heavy. It's heavy, chubby fella.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't taking care of himself. I think after he beat Eubanks, he had a few more fights, and after that, I just think he just stopped caring. Yeah, he didn't take care of himself. I don't know what it is with gypsies, with Fury, with him. You know, they start winning, then they stop caring. Is that something with gypsies or what?
I don't know. I've never really thought of it like that. But clearly, Fury cares again. Fury cares again.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pick a fight in case there's any gypsies in the chat room. But yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it. That's all.
I mean, I don't know. I've just never really thought about it like that. Still looking through this chat. What's Rick's thoughts on Loma versus Tio happening? Well, I think there's an article out that Loma wants to fight ASAP. So, what was it? A tweet? Was it a tweet? I saw something yesterday. Where's that? Let me go to. As a matter of fact, let me share my screen with you because coincidentally, I did actually bring up that article, and let me share the article with you. Let me see how you're seeing it. Let me move it right over there and have a look to see what your view is. Yeah, that seems fairly audible. Sorry, visual. Okay, so what's the headline? Vasily Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez want lightweight unification fight. Okay, so Vasily Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez want to next fight each other in a high-stakes lightweight unification bout. Top Ranks Bob Arum told ESPN on Tuesday. Yeah, so this is fresh news. This just came out last night on Twitter. Anybody not following me on Twitter, you're missing out on some exclusive content. So in talking with, that said, I never posted this up, but I saved it. So in talking with Lomachenko and Lopez, neither of them want an interim fight. So we plan to do that in December, with or without an audience. Damn, breaking news right here on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. I never actually read the article. I just read the headline, saved it till now. So what we do know is that both Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez want the fight and don't want an interim fight. Neither of them. Yeah. So Aram said we would plan to do that in September with or without an audience. So breaking news, Bob Aram was planning to make the Lomachenko versus Lopez fight in September with or without an audience. So yeah, that's big news. That is big news. Lomachenko currently holds the WBC, WBA, WBO 135-pound title. Aegis Klimas, who manages Lomachenko, said his client prefers to bypass the tune-up bout and go straight to Lopez. Damn. Nothing matters as long as Lopez is coming in the ring with Lomachenko. Klimas said of the prospect of fighting without the fans. So, yeah, it don't matter. Fans or no fans. Fans or no fans. Lomachenko wants to fight on. Just wants to get it on. Well, Lomachenko is currently in his home country of Ukraine, but Klimas said that his fighter has a green card. So he's a permanent resident. He's allowed to come into the country. I think he's talking about the USA. The 22-year-old Lopez won the IBF lightweight title in emphatic fashion by beating Richard Comey in 2 rounds in December, Madison Square Garden, and has made it clear that he wants to beat Lomachenko before moving up in weight. So, yeah, long story short, that is the story. Well, they don't even have a damn picture of the damn thing. Don't even have a picture of the damn thing. Let me stop sharing that. So that is the story. Lomachenko wants Teofimo. Teofimo wants Lomachenko. And yeah, they don't care about no crowds. They just want to get it on.
Sounds like something that should happen though, then, shouldn't it?
What's that? September. It's going down. They're trying to make it for September.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going down in September, all being well.
As a fan, I hope that happens, man. I really, really, really hope that happens. I hope nothing comes up to delay it or stop it, because I think he has what it takes to beat Lomachenko right now. He's just Mr. Helter Skelter, you know.
That's what it takes to beat Lomachenko. It's an interesting time. Because Teofimo is 22. Lomachenko is 30-something now. Teofimo is just coming up, and Lomachenko is approaching the end. One of those fights we could just see him fall off the mountain, fall off the cliff edge. We don't know. How much has Lomachenko got? If he's still got plenty in the tank, I think he takes care of. Teofimo. If he's still got plenty in the tank, I don't know. It's a question of father time, but who's to say that he's done? Look at Pacquiao. But then again, everybody's not a Pacquiao. I know that. What's going on here? GSP's best friend, and I mean they are close, is Arthur Beterbiev. How strange that Arthur is a strict Muslim and GSP, well, is GSP. They do everything together, train, eat, cinema. It's a hilarious story. I didn't know that. I did not know that. So Arthur Beterbiev is based out of Canada. Interesting.
Yeah, Arthur Beterbiev is the guy everybody's supposed to fear because he could punch.
And he's based out of Canada. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he needs to step up in competition, doesn't he? I don't think he's beaten anybody noteworthy yet, right?
In Canada, most days you can see Beterbiev and GSP in a tea coffee house having cake and tea after training. It's so funny. Is that so? What else we got here? I think there's some joking and some trolling going on. Luke Rockhold is close with Big Baby Miller. There's some nonsense going down there. There's some nonsense going down. Diaz brothers sparred with Andre Ward. I believe that to be true. That is true. The Diaz brothers sparred regularly with Andre Ward. For those who don't know, the Diaz brothers are they're mixed martial arts fighters, more specifically UFC fighters. And yeah, they sparred well with Andre Ward, and Andre Ward spoke highly of them.
Yeah, that was a few years ago. He said he got slapped. The brother who he sparred with, Diaz brother who he sparred with, was just slap, you know, but he still did his thing.
Yes.
He only knows one speed, like you spoke of, like the people who come into the dojo sometime and do, they just know one speed. That's the Diaz brothers. They only know one speed. Which is not slow.
Yeah. Let's keep on going. I'm scrolling through the chat. Yes, I'm at it. Never stopped, mate. Never stopped. TOV Lomo. Yes. That's a great fight, says Reverend Pickles. Shot me against Comey. Yeah, I thought Comey would edge him with experience, but no. No. But I don't know if they fought. I don't know. I think if they fought again, if Tiafimo and Kome fought again, I don't know. I don't think you'd stop him like that so soon. I think, I don't know. Did Kome underestimate Tiafimo? Because Kome is a durable guy. It's a durable guy. So I was surprised. I'm not surprised he won. Although at Kome, I thought Kome would win. I'm not surprised he won, but the fashion in which he won, mind you, I suppose I'm not the only person who thinks that way.
Well, because it was a quick fight, quick as far as it went. What, 4 rounds, Raphie, or was it 5?
Two rounds.
2 rounds. That's right. Two. He caught him with a good right hand, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Right. They caught him with a couple of shots. Staggered him.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the fight.
Caught him with one shot, staggered Kome back, and then Kome lunged forward, and boom! I think he finished him with that. That might have been a right.
Kome actually caught him too one time that made him take pause, and then he just came straight forward.
Yeah, it obviously didn't catch him well enough. He just came back like a zombie.
Yeah. Because the fights I've seen with Kome, he's I don't know, he's heavy-handed, but he looks awkward to me when he fights. Just looks awkward.
Yeah, it does. Mr. Squiggly up in the building.
Tony Thompson is very retired, isn't he?
Very retired.
Because he's older than me. I'll be 49 this year, so I know he's older than me.
Very, very retired. Very, very retired. Okay. What's this? Regis and Taylor. I hope Mikey thinks they are easy pickings. Okay. What's the time say? Okay. We have come to the end of another one. This was being in loads of movies. Okay. This was another one with Rick Glaser. This was a boxing talk with Raphie 125. We had the pleasure of being joined by Rick Glaser. And it was a good show once again with Rick. Good to have Rick's insights on things. And of course, Rick is with us for the whole of the COVID era, and maybe even after. And when it can be done. So yeah, boxing talk with Raphie 125, special guest Rick Glaser, joined by Troy. Well, by Troy
Graham.
I had to get the writing out of the way to remember the Troy Graham. Yeah, so Troy, it's been another good one.
Been a pleasure, man. I'll be back same bat time. Well, I'll be back on Friday. We will be back on Friday.
Yes, indeed, we shall. Eddie Stavern says 2 great guests, pure class, a class by itself. Yeah, always
respect.
100%. So that was Troy Graham. Troy, you got any final words? Anything you want to say?
Oh man, just stay blessed, and anything you do, keep the faith and stay strong, man. And you might run into some tribulation, but you'll never run out as long as you stay the faith. Just stay the course and keep your faith, and you shall not fail.
You shall not fail. And that was Troy Graham. Troy Graham, thank you very much. And we'll talk on the back end, my friend.
Yes, sir.
And that was Troy Graham. Thank you to Troy Graham. And there was 3. Then there was 2. And now there is 1. There's that comment there. Just missed it. Where is it? Great input as always, Troy. Absolute, says Philip Khan Roberts. Absolutely 100%. And that, my friends, has brought us to the end of the show. Did another live show earlier on in the day. There's an issue with YouTube. When I load up a live show, like when this live show is over, only the subscribers who chose to receive notifications will see it. And it's supposed to pop up like an hour later for general population. But I've noticed with YouTube now, they're keeping these lives, they're processing for hours. And while they're processing, only people with the link who receive the notification can see it. So that ain't good. That ain't good. Sometimes it's like approaching 12 hours before the damn thing loads up. So let's say you weren't a subscriber. Let's say you, Philip Carl Roberts, were not a subscriber, and a subscriber who had pressed notifications to activate notifications. You wouldn't see the show. And you come in after a night's work or whatever, or an evening, and you want to watch the show, you wouldn't see it because you didn't receive the notification, and it's not up until sometimes like 12 hours later. It's crazy. It's unacceptable. YouTube is saying there's something, they've got less staff available because of the COVID-19. But I mean, I thought it's a internet thing. It's an internet-based thing. Would you not have thought that they would have people would be able to work from home? But evidently, I don't know. It seems like that system isn't sufficiently in place to make sure that the live shows are visible to general populace shortly after they're finished. That's not happening. It's staying in the processing phase for hours, so the general populace can't see it. It doesn't come up as a video. It doesn't come up on my the rest of my videos for sometimes 12 hours later. So it's very egregious, very annoying, but that's what's going down. That's what's going down. So yeah. So I post up things on Twitter, and I post up things in the community page. So stay in touch with the community chat page so you can see all updates. Yeah, very, very strange on YouTube since this COVID thing is just, damn, it's just not working optimally, I guess, understandably in part. Okay, well, it's been the show. We were joined by Rick Glaser. Excellent guest. Is with us for the whole of this COVID period, all being well. And of course, joining us also was Troy Graham. You got notified 30 minutes after I begun. Damn. Well, at least you got a notification 30 minutes later. Yeah. It's just part of the COVID thing. It's part of the COVID thing. That's just the way it's going at the mo. So, yeah, what can I say? It's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comment, it's the shares, and it is the hitting that bell icon to stay up with news and notifications. It's the Boxing Talk with Raphie. It's the don't forget about the live shows. It's don't forget about the Twitter, where you can get exclusive content under the same name, Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. And yeah, what else can I say? Have a blessed evening, blessed day, blessed week, blessed month, blessed year, blessed life. The only thing left for me to say is blessed.